Welcome back to the Gym Owner Podcast. This is Anthony.
I'm Natalia. Hi.
And today we have Mary and Jamie Kane from Empire Gym. Thank you guys for coming on the Gym Owner Podcast. It's been a long time. I've been trying to get you guys on here for a while, so thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So, Mary, tell them a little bit about your background, because I know you're an IFBB pro. How did you start? What made you guys start and say, hey, I want to be gym owners?
So I dated a guy that was a bodybuilder, and the best thing I got out of the relationship was I opened my own gym. And then he and I broke up, and several years after that, Jamie and I met, and then Jamie came into the gym family, and we've opened 3 gyms now together. So
nice.
Okay.
So we had a kind of weird story of how we met, how you guys first came to us. There was a software company that was almost, I would say, using like Madoff techniques of how they ran business. So if you guys went through that whole ordeal, explain how you first came over to us. And I want to go over, because you guys 3-time gym owners now, want to go over what it took to grow your clubs. But how did you first come to us? Tell us that crazy story of what happened.
can we say the company?
Yeah, they're defunct.
They're out of
business.
business.
I don't think
So-
that
Hey,
would
they
have
owe
to
us
worry.
money, so I don't care if they get paid.
We were with National Fitness, and the software program that they had was pretty good. It did a lot of the things that we needed at the time, but we were small and trying to figure life out at that time as gym owners. So we didn't really know officially what we needed. Now we know, and now we're with a company, Gym Insight, that's phenomenal and does everything that we need. But with National Fitness, slowly what happened over time was that our money just wasn't being deposited into the account anymore. We would call them, they would give us a runaround, and that went on. And eventually, I would say probably 6 to 8 weeks into it, there was no response anymore from anybody and just no money coming in, but they were still taking the dues out and members were still being charged for the memberships. So then we contacted Gym Insight and thank our lucky stars that we were able to transfer the data before everything was gone, and the rest is history.
Yeah, we were really lucky that we met Anthony and Lawrence back then. I'm sure we all had a lot less gray hair back then. But
I still have them. You just can't see them in the camera.
I've got more of them. But the good thing is we met them, and and they totally understood what a lot of local small-time gym owners were going through, the pinch that they were in, basically living draft to draft. And when you lose 2 or 3 drafts, there was a lot of small gyms that just couldn't survive. They couldn't keep the doors open. They couldn't pay the bills, and so they had to close up. And I like when I met Anthony, the first thing he said is, look, I know you're feeling really jaded towards software companies right now, but I want to tell you what makes us different. It's the fact that we will never touch your money. And he says, you're going to set up your own billing, your own gateway, and you'll have an account with a third-party biller, and they're going to do all your stuff. And you guys were using TSYS at the time and Authorized.net, and that's the 2 biggest names in the game. And so they had the reputation that they were going to take care of you and not mess with your money. We kind of all felt like a bunch of damaged goods at that time. And it was really reassuring to meet some people that were like, we used to be in your same shoes, that we were gym owners and gym managers, and we just knew there had to be a better way of doing things.
I think too, what separates Gym Insight and you guys from the other 3 companies that we have tried and been with is, hands down, from day one, the customer service has been amazing. And then just yesterday, I called into customer service to get some help, and Abby picked up, and within 5 minutes, she had answered my question, knew exactly who I was, had remembered helping us get set up. And then we were off the phone. And every other company that we've worked with, if we called in for customer service, we would either have to wait 24 hours for a turnaround phone call, or they would keep passing us down the line to try and find somebody that could answer our questions. So with you guys, it's like immediate, and the process is over, and then we can move on to the next thing that we have to accomplish. And you guys are always so kind when you answer too.
Yeah, and I also really appreciate the fact that your customer service, aside from being great, is U.S. based. I just don't want to sound like a bad guy, but we were calling into ABC, and I mean, half the time I really couldn't understand what the other person was saying, and I kept having to say, "Excuse me, can you say that again?" and stuff. And it's really comforting to know that when we call in, we're going to be able to talk to somebody, and they understand that their job is to take care of the situation and get us off the phone as fast as possible so we can get back to work.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah, thank you so much for all those kind words, by the way. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thank you seriously because if you're a new gym owner, like you don't know about software, you just think all software is the same.
Yeah.
So that is awesome coming from like veteran
Actual
gym
gym
owners.
who's lived it and been with other softwares and everything else. So it's like you guys have that firsthand experience, which is so great. But I love that. That's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
And I
Just feel good. We're no national fitness, that's for sure.
Thank God. And in hindsight, I wish National Fitness was a great learning experience, but then we thought, okay, well, we'll try, because we thought 2 other software companies would have more to offer and that would take take more of our job away. After going through those other 2, now 3 total, I don't think we'll ever leave Gym Insight, and you guys continue to improve. So it's like, why would I ever go anywhere else? I would just start with you guys and stay with you guys. That would be my number one thing to tell a new gym owner, like choose Gym Insight and stay with Gym Insight.
Yeah.
so
green.
well,
Yeah.
again, thank you for that. But I wanted to, well, I'll get to that in a second, like what made you go. So if you're watching this, it's not like they just left us. After National Fitness, they grew their clubs. Like they stacked money and grew their monthly recurring revenue and ended up selling their clubs. So what would you say, like after you switched over to National Fitness, all right, you're done with them, you came over to us, you were with us for a few years before you ended up selling. What would you say, like, did you, and answer honestly, but did you see, like, when using us, was it easier to grow your clubs? If so, what made it easier in your eyes? Like what changed once you did once you had a handle of the software and you switched over?
I would say number one, it's user friendly. So there was less training time for our staff. And number 2, it's user friendly for the consumer. And so again, they're not going to be as frustrated. They could change their cards in the app. They could get in and out of the door easier. I mean, just everything was easier about the system. It automatically would contact them, let them know that their card was getting ready to, expire. Just user friendliness.
Well, and then when you guys came out with Guru, I think that was a real big that was a real big move for you guys, far as making the software user friendly, to the point where, I mean, it was loaded on an iPad. Somebody came in, said they wanted to check out the gym. We did the tour. We walked them around. We came back and basically, hey, do you want to sign up? And they'd say yes. And you'd hand them the iPad, and it gave them their menu, the membership options right there on the front, and they could pick whichever one they wanted. And they put in all their information. There was a lot less transcription errors from somebody giving me their information and then having another person key it in. So a lot less errors, especially with like email addresses and card numbers for billing and things. And they did about half the work with the iPad that you would normally have to do sitting at the desk typing everything in. And, and everything merged over into Gym Insight really well. I really didn't have any complaints. Another thing that was really good that I liked was we got a report each day, of what's our state of the business, what's going on, year to date, month to date, and then versus the prior 3 to 4 months, what's our trend looking like? And so we could really keep our finger on the pulse of the business. Like, how many new memberships did we have? How many cancellations have we had? What's our revenue for the month looking like? What's it looking like versus last month? You know, it was a really good business snapshot to get that would help you keep your finger on the pulse of your business.
And I
Yeah.
think to add on to that, with other companies, like we never knew exactly what our income was going to be coming in. And on this, we can say, oh, we added a new basic membership. We could see that actually appear the next day in our transactions in the bank account. Whereas with the other companies, we don't know even to this day what fees were coming out, what we should have received. Did we receive it? When we would sit down and do our balance sheet, it's like, it was very evasive. And when we would ask them to try and explain to us, it was still like, and they would flip through 50 screens and we're like, I don't know what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Name any other business where that's okay. For some reason in the gym industry, like this isn't new. This is still going on today. I just did a demo and we're in 2025, just turned, and the owner does no idea how much they make. And that's why I always tell people, if you go with us or any other, just make sure if it's a payment facilitator, they act as the merchant. They are touching your money. They can make up fees that just wouldn't be on a normal merchant account. And you deal with what you just said. You flip through 5 pages. They don't even explain what the fees are because they know it's ridiculous and they're embarrassed to say what that is. Oh, it's just an extra fee. We're making money off you. So I always tell people, make sure if you don't go with us and you are going to go with a software, just make sure it's like not a payment facilitator. And if it is, look at all of their fees and have them explain it to you. Just so it doesn't, I don't want to sound too much like infomercials because you guys are so awesome and keep saying good things about us. I'm trying to come from the point of like, okay, I found this video. I'm a new owner. I want to take some things. You just mentioned a tour. I don't know anything about that. I just know in my mind, I'm a new gym owner. If somebody asks for prices, I'm just going to show them price and the leaves. Tell me a little bit about you being an experienced gym owner. What happens as soon as somebody walks through your door and how you handle that?
Well, so the first thing you want to do as soon as they walk in, you want to greet them. You want to introduce yourself. You want to ask their name. And I will tell you this, if it's a couple, always ask the lady's name first. And then ask the guy's name and, you know, and give the guy a good handshake. And then from there, you just ask them, say, hey, what can we do for you today? How'd you hear about us? And try to figure out where they heard about you from. You know, if it was online or if it was a referral or something like that. Especially if it was a referral, you know, and they give you somebody's name, you definitely want to say something complimentary about the person that referred them. Oh yeah, I know Anthony. He's a great guy. He comes in here, works out all the time. Yeah, I really appreciate him. You know, spreading the word. So do that, and then you say, so what kind of goals do you guys have? What are you looking to do? Because if they say they're looking to tone up and lose some weight, you don't want to go right over to the 150-pound dumbbells. You want to be able to tailor that tour to fit them and hit the things that's going to pertain specifically to what they're looking to do. And if that's the case, hey, I want to lose some body fat and tone up. Well, hey, let's walk down here. I'll show you our cardio area that we have and show you the different equipment that we have. And then, you know, and as you're walking through, you can ask them some other questions. You know, how long have you guys been training anywhere else or anything like that, to kind of get a feel for. If you ask them if they've been training somewhere else and they say, oh yeah, I've been training at Planet Fitness. Well, they've probably been paying $10 a month. And you know that Planet Fitness has kind of tainted the waters in the gym industry as to, most people think that for $10, you should be able to have a membership at any gym. And you can't do that because you got to stay open. You can't take care of customers and can't keep doors open. Yeah. So ask them if they've been training somewhere else. Now, if they turn around and they tell you, oh, I've been training over at XYZ training studio, and you know it, and you know that it's at least $150 to $175 a month to go in there and train, then you also understand this is somebody that also they're willing to spend a little bit more money because they know they're going to get their money's worth. So that also kind of helps you understand what price point people are looking at too. You walk them around, show them the equipment that's pertinent to what their goals are, and and ask them along the way, have you got any questions? Or if you have any special equipment that other places don't have, that's an opportunity to say, hey, we've got this piece of equipment, works really great. You're not going to find this at any other clubs around here. We're the only people that have this vertical leg press or this belted squat or this Rogers squat. If you highlight some of the stuff that sets you apart from the other places, and another thing too, when you're walking around our club, we constantly get people complimenting us on how clean our club is. Draw that to their attention too. It's like, hey, so you've been working out at Planet Fitness. Typically Planet Fitnesses are pretty clean, but we like to pride ourselves and say that we're cleaner than any of the Planet Fitnesses around us.
And we have separate bathrooms.
And and I also do that too.
Makes a difference.
We have individual bathrooms and individual showers, and and I tell people, we don't play that because people get weird in locker rooms, and so we don't even allow that to come to the surface because we don't do it. And especially if it's a husband and wife, I also make sure to say that because of that, as a husband, I feel confident that my wife is going to be able to come to the gym if I'm not there, and she's not going to have any weird bathroom or locker room experiences if I'm not there.
But we want it anyway.
Yeah.
Jamie, that was textbook. What Jamie just said,
Hey,
textbook.
she keeps me safe.
She's gonna be just fine. But
So so I'm telling this, and it's taking longer to tell it than it does to actually do the tour. A tour typically lasts about 5 minutes, and then when you get finished, this really smart guy that used to live out in Vegas, I think he got deported back to New York or something like that. But he said at the end of the tour, he says, ask for money. Ask them for the sale. Hey, can we get you signed up? It'll take 10 minutes. Let's get you guys signed up. And so that was Anthony, of course. But because he used to say, hey, the worst thing you can do is give a great tour, and at the end of it, don't ask for the sale, because that's what they're there for. They're not there just to give you practice.
I mean, they're already in the door. That shows that they're at least 50% ready to take the leap. So you just go ahead and hand them the iPad and say it's super easy. What choice do you want? Which one do you want? You want the premium or the basic?
Yeah.
If you do a tour like you just said, and now you go to price presentation with an iPad, your closing percentage is going to be like 99%. There's the only reason why they would say no is they're a person that they're looking for any excuse to not sign up to feel good. They're not signing up, and they went into a gym just to attempt to go to a gym and to check that off their box for January, or they're significant other is in a store next door and they have nothing to do and they're walking down a sidewalk and they pop into your gym just because they're trying to burn time. Like if you give a perfect tour and that person walked into your gym because something made them go, I need to change something in myself, you hand them the tablet. This is our month to month. This is our 12-month membership for if you want to commit. And this is our year prepaid. Here, and just hand it to them and be quiet. Because first person that talks loses, say within the sale. So just hand the tab, because it's more awkward for them to go to, instead of touching on a membership, than to go, oh, here to hand it back. So it's that perfect instructions on giving a tour. Now, here's another thing. Besides signing people up, the other thing you could do with growing a gym besides signing people up is preventing cancels. Because if you let's say you kick ass at signing people up, you sign up 200, 100 people a month. If you have the same amount in cancels, your gym grew by nothing, right? So I know we talked before about how to save as many cancels as possible. Why don't you tell everyone how that's been working for you and what your script is to save cancels and the effectiveness of it?
I want to brag on Jamie for just a second. I think he and Sarah both were working on these the other day, and we had somebody that was declined, owed a chunk of money, and I can't remember if it was you or Sarah or both of you that had hands-on speaking with it. Anyway, the person paid their money and re-signed.
Oh,
So,
nice.
So in that same day, I pulled two. I got two people. I pulled them out of collections and got them caught up. Got new cards on file, and those people were like, "Well, I'm really glad I took your call and we got this handled." And typically, you know, when you're on the phone trying to collect money from people, they don't say stuff like that. So they're typically just trying to get off the phone without trying to give you any money. But both of the people were like, you know, I'm really glad I got this handled and I can come back to the gym now. And I was like, absolutely, man, your door code is green. So yeah, you can come now. But when I get somebody that calls me up and says, hey, I want to cancel. Again, first thing you want to do is you want to get a reason from them. Say, hey, you know, and you got to be tactful about it because you don't want to just bark at them and go, well, why? So, you know, well, hey, if you don't mind, can you tell me why you want to cancel? And the golden rule, again, that guy from New York said the golden rule for cancellations is never ask if you're canceling because you're moving. Because it's a easy that's low-hanging fruit for somebody that's wanting to cancel. And if they snatch that one, then if you could offer them the sweetest deal in the world and
Take it.
they can't walk back moving.
Yeah.
You know, and I when we had our gym in Columbus, there was more than a handful of people that called up and said, hey, I need to cancel my membership. I'm moving. And 2 months later, I run in, my shopping cart hits their shopping cart at the Walmart down the street.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
not red-handed.
Yeah. And you ask them, well, how's the move? You know, and so, and those people, because of something like that, no matter what, they will never come back to your gym.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for preventing the cancels that Jamie and Sarah both have done well is they listen to the client and they try to figure out why they're not using the membership, because that seems to be the most common answer. They get a gym membership, don't use it. And so finding a way to get them involved back in the gym and then helping them create their community within the gym. So we offer classes, we have personal training, and then also every single one of our staff persons almost knows everybody by name. So when they walk in the door, we greet them. It's kind of like Moe's and what's the other one? Firehouse Such. You know, they holler out your name as soon as you walk in the door. And I think that helps keep customer retention.
I think that's called the cheers effect.
Yeah.
It works.
Everybody wants to go where people know your name.
Yeah.
And so like when these people, when you ask them, say, hey, what are you canceling for? They say, well, I'm just not using the gym. And, you know, and that's when I said, okay. So if you cancel the gym, do you still have goals that you want to reach or as your physical fitness? Like, you know, are you still working towards a goal? And a lot of times they'll say, well, yeah. And it's like, well, okay, well, what's keeping you from doing that now? You know, and they'll be like, well, I don't have anybody to work out with. I don't have a training partner, or I really don't feel comfortable with the equipment. It's, you know, you'll get a bunch of reasons. And if you can do anything to re-engage them, you know, even if it's, hey, well, look, how about we get you back in here and do like, I'll do a special 3-pack of personal training, 3 sessions for $99. That right there, that's a $50 savings off of 3 regular sessions. We'll get you in here, get you with a trainer. They'll get you a couple of good upper body workouts to do, a good lower body workout to do. Go over the equipment really well with you, making sure that you're adjusting it the way that you're supposed to so it fits you, and also being able to spot you so that you know you're doing the exercise with the right technique and form. If you can get somebody to do that and they show up, you've just done 2 things. Number one, you just saved a cancellation. They're not going to cancel. And the second thing is you just opened the door for somebody to do more personal training. So at the end of those 3 sessions, you just ask them, say, hey, how did you like training with Mary? Oh, I really enjoyed it. It was great. Well, you know, I can't offer you as sweet a deal as 3 sessions for $99 for Here to Infinity, but
Mhm.
but I can sit down and offer you a good deal if you're willing to continue training with her for say 3 months or 6 months or maybe a year.
Yeah.
And that's, again, that's taking, and you're taking one out of the loss column and putting it back in the win column. And then there's a multiplier too of what's your yearly revenue on that person when you can increase and add personal training.
And they're going to stay with you for life. So anyone that
Yeah.
gets training doesn't cancel. Let's all be honest here. Like if you look at all your members that have bought even at 3 for $99, they stay with you for much longer. And even when the person says like, oh, it costs money, it's like, it's actually cheaper because you get to the way you want to look in the least amount of time rather than spending a year's worth of dues. And you're at this point right here where you're about to cancel.
That's a great
And,
point to them.
so
Yeah.
you remember the moving lie is not because they just want to lie to you, they want to be, it's because they're not gym people and they are scared of you. They're scared of the front desk. They're walking in and they're saying that because there's nothing else to say. So like I know something that always helped me was like I would always have like the monitor turned, and when somebody would come in, I would just say, look up their account and like click the cancel button just so they think as soon as they see that, ooh, defense wall is down.
That's
They
true.
don't have to lie anymore. And now I ask why they're canceling, where they look like I'm typing in the reason. And I would say, so what's the main reason? You're just not using it? Or now I get the truth from them, right?
Mhm.
And a 3 for $99, I love that. But even if a person doesn't want to do a 3 for $99, I may even say, well, you know what? I'll see how many times they've been with us and say, you've been with us for 14 months. Let me buy 1 month back because I'm sure you still have those goals of aspirations of when you first started 14 months ago. Let me take this one and I'm going to set you up on an orientation. I understand you don't want to pay anything, but if you see the value in it, continue. Don't just cancel. And you might for those people, what I'm saying, use that for the people that don't do a 3 for $99. Like just
Yep.
what does it matter if you just like if I've yet to hear a gym say, hey, let us buy a month back from you, like the bars used to do after you buy a couple of beers, you do a buyback. Just say, let me get 1 month back. They may stay with you another 7 months before they, before they
Yeah.
throw in
And
the
one of the other
towel.
things when we talked to you last week, one of the other things, and we've been in the gym business for 20 years. And I think sometimes I get tired, I forget, I'm not encouraged anymore or remotivated. And then after talking to you last week, one of the things you said about preventing cancellations too, is give them a week VIP, let them try everything in the facility. It doesn't cost us anything extra. It's not charging them anything extra, and everybody gets the benefit of it. And then they can see if they like all the other assets the company, the facility has. And it's kind of a win-win that way. So
Yeah. All that you guys have to offer. That's so cool.
Yep.
I think most cases of people that I talk to, they know what to do. Like I'm not saying anything that they don't already know. It's just that let's all face it, you're in the gym every single day. Burnout's a real thing, right? Like look at a lot of the people that start their own gym, they could be on the poster of health and fitness, and then like 6 months in, like it happened to me where I looked like I could be that person that could go twice a day, 2 hours a day. 6 months in, all of a sudden you're like 40 pounds heavier, and because that hobby and love and passion and why you wanted to get into this industry because it seems like a dream now becomes the stress in your life. So after dealing with customer concerns, people complaining, why can't you play this music? Why can't you move this equipment here? Why don't you have this equipment? At the end of the day, the last thing is on your mind is like, I want to go home. I can't stay here to even work out. So I get it. Burnout's a real thing. And sometimes just talking to people, you're right. It reinvigorates them to be like, hey, let's really go for that this month. We're going to go get back in the games. So, and I wish if you're watching this and you're a gym owner, a get back in the game is such a good promotion to run right now because there's people sitting on their couches that used to be members of yours that they have the intention to go into your gym, but let's face it, people are lazy. And just call these people and say, hey, we're having an uncancel promotion. Don't even say you're selling memberships. Just say we're having an uncancel promotion. would you like to uncancel your membership? Same cost, same everything, just need to put a new card on file. And if they say yes, they're going to either say yes or no. If they say yes, put the card on file, uncancel, same as selling a membership. So we talked about doing that last week with you guys. How's the reception been with your uncancel or get back in the game promotion?
So far, it's getting some momentum. Picked up a couple and looking to work on that presentation a little bit more so that when you call them up, it doesn't sound scripted, that, you know, you're calling and you just really, you know exactly what you want to say. And it's just, you say it. And again, you give them the opportunity to speak. And like you said, you know, once you say something like that, if you just kind of let it go for a second and you see who's going to speak, because the first person that talks loses. Mm-hmm. And so you've got a really good chance of getting those people back. And especially if you got, say you had somebody that was like a premium member for us and they were paying $99.99, and you call them up and you say, hey, would you, you know, we're trying to get folks back in the gym, you know, would you be interested in signing back up for, you know, for the same thing that you had before? And if they say, well, I was paying for a membership that I wasn't really using. Well, were you just not using the premium side, and were you maybe just using the equipment? And if they say that, say, hey, well, let's do this. What if I offered you a great deal on just a basic membership? And that allows you to come in and just use all the free weights and the machines and stuff like that. And you don't have to worry about paying the extra for stuff that you're not using on the premium side. You know, sometimes giving them a different option like that where it was going to cost them $99 before, and now it's $49, you know, or if you've got somebody that was paying $49 before, offer them, say, hey, look, one of the things I can do to help you try to get back in the gym, and I understand with, you know, the economy and everything, money is really tight right now. What if I could give you our corporate rate and it would be $39.99 a month? That saves you $120 a year. You know, that's basically, that's like me giving you 3 free months a year.
Yeah.
You know, and you've already paid enrollment fee the first time that you signed up with us, so you'll never have to pay an enrollment fee again for us. Let's get you signed up. Give me a debit card and we'll get you signed up on this, and we'll start saving you some money. And you can come back to a gym that you know that you really liked.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you use the word uncancel, you'll get even more, because sign up, it's in their mind. They're like, oh, I have to go down at the whole sign up process. Uncancel is like, oh, uncancel. What is that? I just need a card on file and you're good to go. If you need to come down to get a new key, get a new key. But like I always tell people, some people, oh, my manager is horrible at making calls, or they're not the best at sales. They're great at customer service and not great at sales. You could have the worst salesperson in the world, right? Let's just say we have the worst salesperson in the world. They can only do 8 phone calls a day. That's 1 phone call an hour. I'm setting the bar super low here, right? 1 phone call an hour, so we're ensuring they're actually calling. And out of all of the calls, they only get 1 person to uncancel. That's still like 25, 30 extra memberships a month. That's a big deal. In January, that's a big deal. But you know when that's a big deal? November, October, so the dead months.
Yeah,
that's a make or break of where if you guys make money or not. And you know, I love these get back in the game promotions for that. And in January, it's just like stealing candy from a baby, because everyone has in their thought, it's January, I got to go. But November and October, I try to urge people to do it and really push for it, because if you don't have a good plan in place for November and October, then all that extra money that you make in January just makes up for those dead months, and it all washes out. So, you know, there's a lot of things, and I know we're going over a lot of things to do. Keep in mind, guys, these guys are pros. They have done this before. They have standard operating procedures. So if you are watching this and you're like, oh, this is good, I'm going to write all this down, and then you try to do everything, don't do that, because you're going to move the needle at 1% and you're not going to see any change. Like pick one thing, drive at it at 100%. And then once you have your standard operating procedures down, then move on to the next thing. We're going to focus on uncancels or something like that.
Yeah.
And to like maybe to drive home the point of what you just said, if you watch this and you say, hey, there's 10 things I want to start doing, and you do all 10 of those, and like you said, the needle only moves 1%. Well, how do you know which one of those was actually worth your time?
Because you're doing them all.
But if you do one thing or maybe two things and you see progress, even if it's slight progress, you know, okay, well, that one thing works. Maybe I need to work on my presentation on it, or maybe I need to take in and work on my plan and figure out how to fine tune that and make it so that it's as smooth on the delivery and things like that. Because in this business, presentation is everything.
Yeah.
It really is. Because you're going to have people that have that. They've got their defenses up walking into a gym because, number one, like you said, they feel uncomfortable being in there in the first place. And so you've got to kind of put their mind at ease. And then you have to get them to buy. And once you do that, then you need to speak to them every time they come in the gym. That way they feel comfortable. You know, this is not a comfort zone for most people. And you have to turn the gym into a comfort zone for them. And if you can do that with those people right there will stay with you for a very long time. We have several members that have joined with us over a year to a year and a half ago. And they walked in and you could look at them and tell they were terrified to be here. And you just go over and give them a little bit of your time and just talk to them and just reassure them that, you know, hey, this feels a little uncomfortable right now, but you're going to get used to it. You're going to acclimate yourself to the workouts. You're going to be sore for a little while, but that means you're doing something positive, and then you're going to get over that soreness, and you're going to come in here, and this is going to become your routine. It's not going to be just going home and crawling on the couch and watching TV. This will be your routine. And we've had, I had one lady that came in and she said the only thing she wanted to do in the gym was walk on the treadmill, because there was times when it's raining outside and she didn't want to walk outside. She goes, that's the only exercise I do is walking outside. And some days it's raining and I want to be able to walk on a treadmill. Well, her name's Miss Vicki. And in a year,
she's 65 years old. She's amazing.
In a year and a half, Miss Vicki went from just coming in here and walking on the treadmill and us talking to her and, you know, saying hey and having, you know, giving her a minute to 2 minutes of our time and having conversation with her, you know, and checking up with her on how's her progress going. She went from being that person to she does personal training with Mary now. How many days a week?
She does 2 days a week. And then she comes to one of our boot camp classes that a lot of people are kind of scared of. And she's like, I'm going to go and I'm going to just do what I can. And if everybody would have that attitude, I mean, it would just change their whole outlook on fitness. But she's phenomenal. She's done a 180.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done like a gym member spotlight on Facebook or your Instagram?
Yes. We just had one we posted yesterday that's got, I think it's over 2,000 views now. It was a transformation of somebody that was in the gym, and like it's just exploded. People have shared it, and it's just been, he's done an amazing job on his transformation. So,
wow, that's so encouraging. Yeah, I love that.
I would totally spotlight Miss Vicki because she's not, she's not a like 35, 20-year-old person that wants to lose 40 pounds or 20 pounds just to look good. Like that's somebody that like has every excuse really to not go to the gym. Like 65, can't move around as much as it. And then she did it. She started with walking, and now she's got to where she even showed up. She goes to bootcamp classes. Like for sure, I would put that on my Instagram.
Oh yeah.
And I can guarantee you that if there's any place that Miss Vicki feels uncomfortable going, it's not this place anymore. No.
She's made it a second home. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. So you guys have really just hit on every single base, but then even kind of for the sign up process, you do make them feel really welcome. But then how has like the digital key access been beneficial for you with the you know, the members that you have and being a 24/7 gym, and what does that look like with signups? Because some people do sign up after hours, and do they, you know, so I don't know, compared to maybe other 24/7 systems that you've used, how has Gym Insights helped you? And just with the member experience when they don't get to come in and get your awesome tour and all of that TLC that you give them.
I think it's been a huge asset. Like, we do have more signups online because of how easy it is, and they get the access code immediately, whereas before they would have to come in and get their key card. And then people would be frustrated when their key cards, they would lose them or they would break and they would have to pay to get them replaced. So we're not charging for a replacement anymore because it doesn't take anything. We also had some teenage boys allowing all their friends in with their former key cards. And so now that nips that in the bud because they have to have their own individual QR code. And so it's just
and you can just show them your muscles too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it was me that caught those guys, so they weren't afraid of me.
Yeah.
I came in one night and there was 3 teenage boys working out, and you know, as coincidence would have it, all 3 of them's name was Thomas. And they all had the same barcode on their phone.
Yeah.
So, you know, the feature with the digital key about it constantly changes and everything, that is a huge security feature. I can't really put a price on it, because anytime you have technology, you're going to have people who try to get around technology. Anytime you try to put a system in place, you've always got somebody trying to figure out a way to get around the system. So I really appreciate the fact that that QR code changes and everything. You can't take a screenshot of it and send it to your friends and expect that it's going to work for them. So I really appreciate the extra layer of security that the digital keys give us.
The other thing too is, so over the holidays, Jamie and I would come in and work the holidays because you do a lot of guest passes during those times, out of town passes. We weren't even here this time. It was the first time probably in almost 20 years that we didn't come into the gym to sell day passes. They just signed up online, and we had more sign up online because it was so easy. So
yeah. Plus, if you look at your day passes, you know, it has their name on it, and then it has their phone number too. One of the things you can look at is if there's a local area code. So our area code is 912, and so if we see somebody that did a day pass and their area code is 912, that's a lead.
I reach out to everybody, whether they're same area code or not, though.
You can call them. You can call them and say, "Hey, saw that you did a day pass. What'd you think of the gym? You know, it was awesome, right? Yeah." You know, and they say, yeah, it was great. Well, hey, how about if what if I could get you to sign up with a membership? You know, you wouldn't have to buy any more day passes. It would be much cheaper for you to come to the gym. You get to continue, you know, using the gym, enjoying the environment, using the equipment and everything. It's a great
So it acts as like a lead as well, which is so wonderful.
It's a lead generator. It's a lead generator. And Mary, she'll call anybody. So, you know, you can have Monica's zip code, and she's like, well, what if we gave you a corporate rate? You know, you could just come in once a year.
See, there's people out there that just won't do it. Like, they see the guest pass. I remember this one person, he paid the day fee every time, and he would work out. Like, it came out to like, he's paying 3 times the price of a membership, and he would never sign up. And then one time, to get him to sign up, I was like, hey, what if I gave you the guest pass membership? And he was like, well, what's that? I'm like, well, you're coming in here 7 times a month. The guest pass membership, we used to have it, we don't have it anymore, but the guest pass membership is basically you're committing to just 3 guest passes a month, $30. And if you use it more than that, great, you got one over on us. If you use it less than that, you're just committing to 3 workouts a month. And he's like, yeah, that I'll do. It was the same price as a regular membership. But it was called the guest pass membership I made up, and he was okay with that. So
he must have had a fear of commitment for
I was just gonna say, typical male, right? Scared of committing.
He was unmarried.
Yeah, exactly. He was still single.
Living in mom's place.
I wanted to ask a question, because if somebody's watching this, be like, well, all this seems great. So, but when you sold the gyms, you left, and then they reopened a gym afterwards, and that's why. What was it that made you guys not switch back? Like, there's lesson learned, because we have brand new gym owners that all they did is use us from the get-go, and they don't know. They think that every software company is the same, or the grass is greener because this salesperson just promised them the moon and stars. What was it that, and there's no quite like, I expect this 100%. This happens all the time, and that's why I'm doing this video to kind of like put it out there. Like, here's veteran owners. This is what they were told and what they ended up getting. So in your case situation, and you don't have to go specific, but like on a roundabout ballpark, what was basically said, hey, let's try this company, and then what ended up happening? Because you didn't just go to one, you ended up going to the other one before coming back.
Yep. For my opinion of it, it was because I didn't want to do collections anymore. So I didn't want to call people and tell them, hey, you owe money and blah, blah, blah. And so we thought that Mind Body was going to be that answer. They said they did all these things, and they showed us a demo of it, and it looked like it was user friendly. We got into it, and it was nothing at all like what we thought we were getting into. The door tag systems didn't work the way that we thought that the way we understood them to work. So we're like, okay, we're going to quit Mind Body and we're going to go to ABC because they do Planet Fitness, some of the big gyms. And they sold us a bunch of things that, to me, to this day, I don't think are the truth. And a nice way to say it. They do the collections, but they keep all the fees. They charge you for a PCI compliance when you shouldn't be charged for a PCI compliance. They don't tell you what you're being charged for. They keep part of your money. And so to us, it was a no-brainer. After being with them for a couple of months, we were like, why are we banging our heads against a wall? Let's go back to Gym Insight, excellent customer service. We know what we're getting into. We know how the billing is. The QR code now for the door access is great. We didn't have to change the door access code. That wasn't proprietary door access code. That's what ABC does, is they make it theirs, and then you have to buy a whole new system if you switch. It was just, this is so much easier, less headache. So now what we do with our collections, because that was my primary, like I didn't want to chase people down anymore. We just let them go to collections, and we hired a collections company, and we submit their data to it. And that way we don't have any more headache.
Yeah.
So,
And you keep the lay fees of whatever is charged. Like, that's huge, you know?
yes.
You
I
decide
didn't
what they
realize
are.
ABC, that they were keeping them.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of the extra. That's how we came to be, is because of ABC. And that this guy from Patchogue who knows a thing or two, he worked with our owner at a gym. And it's so cool, our story, because I love that between Anthony and even Larry, like, they got it from your perspective. Like, it's so important to know and live through an owner's real life experience. And he even said he was so tired of like having, at the time, he said after, because he really didn't know what he was losing, it was like 14% of his revenue. And he was like,
After
what?
everything,
Like,
yeah.
there has to be a better way, if not more. But he wouldn't even really know, because like you even said, I didn't even know they were keeping my late fees. It's like, wait, what? How can you just arbitrarily take the money, not disclose it? And so, just like Anthony said, what other business can you own where it's like, oh, here, I'm just going to take this. You're like, wait, what?
Well, let's not put a certain percent, because we don't want certain companies to come, whatever, but you don't know how much you're making, and that cannot be refuted, and that's not me saying that. Here's two people that just used software and had no idea.
I think he
no other
factored
business
it
you could
around
that's okay.
Yeah. He still would never know, but the amount, I don't think, right? But I think he said it was like a rough estimate around that. It was still more than he should have.
Too much. Yeah, there's no reason you're paying for a company to do all of your services, and then they're taking a big old chunk of your money that you don't even know that they're taking. And then you just start kind of adding the numbers up, and you're like, well, why is that not what I thought it should be?
Yeah.
And you go back through to try and find it, you can't quite put your finger on it. And so goodbye, good riddance. I'm ready to be with a company that's honest, and we know what we're getting into, and we know where our money is, and what to expect on our income on it.
Yeah. Makes a huge difference.
And not just those, not just for that, but like when people switch software, we have horror stories. Okay, you guys don't see the other side of what the horror stories look like. Natalia had someone 6 months to get all the data to come over to us so we can do a data import. I just had somebody that it took over 3.5 months. I signed her up in the beginning of August, and just the other week, it was Christmas Eve. And even when we got the data, only 50 members were matching because they tokenized the data. And the tokens didn't match up to the name perfectly. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, tell you what, if you are going to work, I will answer my phone. It was Christmas Eve. I was like, call me. If you're going to be at the gym matching cards, I'm here for you. Just call me if you have
Yeah.
any questions. So there's horror stories, and you guys got lucky with, I think, a lot of your data dumps, because some of them, they'll say, oh, it's a free data dump. A free data dump will be the most expensive thing you've ever experienced, because it's 6 months of cleanup. And when
Yeah.
there's 6 months of cleanup,
Lost
it
revenue.
means money not being
Yep.
processed.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, like I felt like sometimes we deal, it's almost like a mafia like experience that we're dealing with. We're like, oh, wait a second here. I need muscles like you when I talk to them, because I'm gonna tell them, okay, wait a second.
Well,
But
you'll have members that'll get frustrated because they get a couple of phone calls. Hey, can we get your new card number? We just transferred the data and everything, and so your card number didn't come across. Could we get a new card number? Or you're making calls like that, and it goes to say voicemail or something like that, and they're not listening to them. And then they turn around and come to the gym thinking that they're just going to go up and scan and walk in, and they can't. And so then they call you up and they're mad that, well, hey, my key's not working and all this stuff. And it's, well, we've been trying to get in touch with you for this and all. And you'll end up, people will get frustrated, and you'll end up losing a handful of members too, just over something stupid like that. Like their data didn't come across like it was supposed to. And so it was a headache to get that cleaned up. And in the meantime, they got mad and quit the gym.
Oh, our time, I bet it viewed out.
Oh, did it cancel?
Oh yeah, something happened. I don't know if it timed out or how that, I don't know.
It's still showing.
I can hear you.
Yeah,
there we go.
It's still recording.
Yeah.
But that's a good point, though. I want to kind of wrap, because thank you guys for staying on for over an hour. Again, and if you're watching this over an hour, thank you for still watching.
Yeah.
If there's a new gym owner that's thinking about opening up a gym, you guys are 3-time veterans of opening up locations. What would you say would be the most beneficial thing that you should do, and that you've learned since starting your first gym? Like, if you had to do it all over again, like you just did, what are some key things that you go, oh, you're definitely going to want to do this for equipment or looking at a location? You should definitely do that. Is there any quick advice that maybe you can give?
Gosh, that's a ton of answers. I'd be happy to speak with anybody that is getting or thinking about opening a gym and answer all their questions, because I wish I had that before I opened. But I think by refurbished equipment, when you start, build on it as you grow. So that way you're not out of pocket from the beginning. A lot of gyms think they have to open with brand new equipment. We didn't in our first original location or our second location. And now those pieces of equipment, which are original great pieces, are still in those spaces, making money for those new gym owners in those places. So don't go crazy expensive in the beginning. Second thing, get a great software company. Like, know where your money's going. Like, I can't stress that enough, because of the headaches that we had gone through with the other 3 companies. I wish we'd never had gone, but they were learning experiences. Now we know what we're getting with you, and we know you're the right choice for us. And then I think you have to be ready to pour your heart, soul into it. Don't think it's going to be an easy street. You're going to put lots of blood, sweat, and tears into it, but it's going to be worth it. You're going to change people's lives.
Aw, I love
That's how you should look at it, changing people's lives. And always try to be positive. Like, even when, like you said, you did a tour and you hear they're coming from Planet Fitness. To me, so how I would try to be positive about that is, okay, this person knew what that Planet Fitness price is, but they still came to my gym. So something made them want to come to my gym, even though that Planet Fitness is $10. Most of the case of what I've seen so far, if it's a Planet Fitness that's been there for a while, Planet Fitness is a great stepping stone for people that would never have walked into a big gym, and they get into it, and now they're gym people, but they're limited of what Planet Fitness provides, because it's like 6 of the same shoulder machines, 6 of the same preacher curls, 6 of the same leg machines, and there's no room for growth there. So then they want to grow, and that's when they start to look around. So if somebody, I'm just telling you, next time somebody on a tour, if they said they've already been a member of a Planet Fitness and they're still there, it may not always be a bad thing.
Yeah.
No, it's usually
a good thing.
It's a good thing, because if they're here, it's because, number one, somebody's either made them mad there at Planet Fitness, and Planet Fitness is well known for making gym members mad, and they're looking to go somewhere else, or they've outgrown that gym.
Exactly.
we get people in, and it's like, ask them, well, you were at Planet Fitness. So what would be one of your biggest problems or criticisms of Planet Fitness? And you'll hear people say, well, the dumbbells only go up to 60 pounds, or they don't have any bars that I can use to do anything that's not in a Smith machine or something like that, or attached to something. I'd like to do more free weights and stuff like that. Then you go and you show them your dumbbells, and you show them your free weights, and you show them your plate loaded equipment and things like that. And you just highlight where you're better, and that you're the next step up for them.
Yep.
I love that.
Perfect.
Yeah. I do want to ask one question though, and circle back just to the data migration because I know you guys have had 3, and we kind of touched on that earlier, but from each one though, like, I guess, how easy was it for you from your previous software company to Gym Insight? And because a lot of gym owners that are on other softwares, the chief complaint we hear is like, that's probably one of the scariest things for them. Like, is all of my data going to transfer? Because they have thousands of members. And so they want to be assured that that's going to be an easy process for them. And so, what was your experience like from those others, and then what it was like with Gym Insight?
So when we had switched from ABC and MindBody, Jamie spent the night in the gym to make sure the transactions went okay, that the members were going to be able to get in the door, the ones that come in at noon or midnight or 2 a.m. When we did this final transition with you guys this time, we went home and slept like babies and knew the door system was going to work. We knew the process, everything was correct the way it was going to be set up and needed to be. Members going to have access. So no more sleepless nights.
Yeah. I know we need that. I like my sleep.
When we transferred data from MindBody, who was our first company that we used with Empire, that transfer of data from MindBody to ABC it was
rough.
It was, I'll just say, it was like root canal without anesthesia. And it took weeks
to clean it up,
and to go through, and we literally had to go through every single account and check every single box. And a lot of stuff came over wrong. A lot of things came over. Members were being charged the wrong amounts. And so when we changed from ABC to Gym Insight, it was much cleaner. I think maybe the first 50 accounts that came over, Sarah went through those, I believe, with Dan, and there was only a couple of errors that got cleaned up. And so Dan was like, well, based off of this, now we kind of know some things to look at as we're processing the rest of the data. And after that, I don't think there was any real issues, like maybe 2 or 3 that we had moving forward after like the first 50. And the good thing is during that data transfer, we found out where there was people in the system for ABC that were not being charged. So that was money that we'd been losing for a year and a half, almost, and you can't just call people up and say, hey, by the way, for the last year and a half, you haven't had a gym payment come out.
You owe me back pay.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, man, the horse is out of the barn. You can't get a saddle on him now.
Oh man. So we didn't add to the gray hairs, so that's good.
No, we found money that was missing. Yeah, that's
And you found money that was missing. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so we got that stuff straightened out, and moving forward, we're getting paid what we're supposed to get paid.
Yeah.
And with the transition from the data, our door access guy that has been with us for every move that we've made, he got the door access system from you guys, installed it within a day, and everything started working almost immediately. Like before, it was a headache, and he would have to come back. He lives 4 hours away from us, so he would have to drive all the way back and forth, and we'd have to pay him for every trip that he made. So this time it was a one trip and done. So even that, so any gym owner that's considering a data dump doesn't need to have fear about doing it with you guys. And also, again, the customer service. If there was something that was funky and we couldn't figure out why it was doing it this way, we'd call you and you'd fix it immediately. So
Awesome. Yeah, it's not as scary when it's supposed to work the way that it needs to work.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
I mean, come on. If anything goes nuclear, Jamie, do you not have my direct cell phone number if anything is to go nuclear?
Yeah.
And you're great about answering it.
Yeah. I mean, I can shoot you a text, and if it's just or something like that, you usually respond back. But if it's if I send you something and it requires a little bit deeper deeper answer, I get a phone call. And that never happened with ABC or Mind Body.
Yeah, as soon as the salesperson's done, usually now I'm talking to the outsourced customer service company.
They would pass us off. I mean, they did that several times. They would pass us off. Our first girl was Abby, and then it became Chris, and then it was Ross, and it was just like one person after another that we would go through and never actually know who was our representative that was our, that we were supposed to communicate with.
You. Yeah. Oh. Well, we're so glad to have you back, and that it's easier for you. I mean, just like you guys
definitely glad to be back.
Yeah, I know. It's really, I think, rewarding for Anthony and I, just because we've been in your shoes before on your end, but then it's so nice to know that just like you have a heart and soul for helping your members come in, we have a heart and soul for helping gym owners run so that they're not handcuffed to their facility and that they can actually enjoy life. Even though you love what you do, you also don't want to have to put a cot in the office and live there overnight. So
everyone wants to go on vacation. There's no way you could go on vacation. Before this, it was, if you did, you were always wondering what was going on at the gym. If you took off the weekend, that was considered a vacation, right? You've got a whole weekend. So that's, if you're watching this and that's how you're feeling, trust me, you can go on vacation.
And one of the things that we're in this business because we genuinely want to help affect change in people, to improve their health, their wellness, even their spirituality. We want to support them. And we can't do that if we don't have somebody behind the scenes financially, like with helping us run the actual business that helps support us. So, that's one of the things that you guys are great at. You support each business that you do, that you use, or each business that uses you guys, you help support them. But there's also, you guys are also a source of knowledge too. You guys have been in the gym business. You've been around customer service in the gym business specifically. And so you guys, if we called up and said, hey, I'm having this problem here, it's not uncommon for you to go, oh, we used to deal with that. Oh, let me tell you what we do. And then Anthony makes up some sales program and just sells people everything at full price anyway. And so that's one of the great things about you guys is that if we start running out of ideas, you guys have kind of been there, done that. You've got great ideas to give us. And your software, that's one less thing to worry about in the gym business. As a gym owner, if you could do anything, it's like, I want one less thing to have to worry about. And that's the way that the software runs and the business runs.
Yep. That's the backbone. There's a lot of people that when they first start, they're like, let me use Excel. I'm doing it to save money. But you have to remember, like, you're kneecapping yourself because if you're running it by pen and paper, especially if people that are like gym people that they're just starting out, they don't know. They're like, why can't I just open up Excel and just do this? Because you're going to max out at 200 members and people are just, it's going to become a revolving door after that. Like you need, whether it's us, if you don't want to go with us, that's fine, but pick a software company because if you don't have a software company, you're not going to grow. You're not going to get multi-clubs, that's it.
Yeah.
You're going to be a personal training studio at that point. That's it. That's all you're ever going to be.
Yeah, totally.
It'll inhibit your growth for sure if you're just doing Excel.
Yeah, no way. Yeah. You want to retire one day, right? It's like you got to let your business grow. So
you got to grow.
And sell. These are two-time veterans of selling their club. Like they've sold
so
their
cool.
clubs before. So
Yeah.
I
made it
want to
worth
thank you guys
the
so
stuff.
much for coming on here. Like you have no idea how these like help people. Like a lot of times I'll get a phone call saying, "Hey, I'm starting a gym." And they're like just getting their business plan. And sometimes this is really easy where I'm like, hey, watch this podcast. There's a lot of good information in it. So thank you guys for sharing as much as you did today.
Yeah, it helps other gym owners. They do watch these videos all the time. So yeah, no, thank you for jumping on. So it's invaluable for not only us, but for anyone else looking to go into the industry. So yeah.
Well, and for those people that are already gym owners, if you think going over to other companies like MindBody and ABC if you think that they're going to save you money and save you time and enhance your club's performance, it's not. Go over and see that the grass is not greener, and you'll
be back.
You'll be back. Yeah.
I'll be sad to see you go. I'll be happy when you come back.
You could say, I told you so.
No. Don't want to say that because that
I'll
comes
tell
to see the grass is greener. It comes at a cost. That's not free.
Yeah.
Like you have to pay for a data dump. You had to pay for your employees to be retrained. You had to like change all aspects of your operation. So I am the nicest person in the world when people come back.
Yeah, we know what you've been through to do that
Yeah.
and then have to come back. It's like, ooh.
No doubt.
And you know what? And when we called you up and told you that we were thinking about changing back and everything, you could have said at that point, well, you should have known that you weren't going to get as good a service other places as you were getting here, and you didn't. I really appreciate you were like, awesome. That's great. Let's get you signed back up and get everything squared away so you guys can have a little peace of mind and get a better grip on what's going on in your business.
Yeah. I know New Yorkers get such a bad rap, but this one's pretty cool,
Nobody likes an "I told you so" person,
Yeah, no one wants to hear that.
It must have been all that time he spent in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's it.
Burned it out of him.
Yeah, got it out of him.
All right. Well, thank you guys again, and keep us updated. Like last week we just did a like a consulting meeting, so I'm gonna follow up on you in February to see if you guys how you're doing with the Get Back in the Game promotion.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right.
Hold us accountable.
Got it.
Thank
Talk
you so
to you later,
much.
guys.
Nice to meet you both. Yeah.
You guys, great to meet you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.